everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from gorgeous but very unseasonably cold Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we're going to be talking about some of the things that we believed as Mormons that fucked us up the most.
I think most of our listeners can relate to, like, there are these tendrils of belief that were implanted in us.
Oh, yeah.
That are not okay.
No. So we'll be processing that live on the show.
Yeah.
Stick around.
It's therapy with Frank and Dan.
About 45 to 50 minutes from now.
We'll see. I mean, you can scrub forward and figure it out for yourself if you need to.
We'll figure that out.
But don't, because we got news for you.
Yeah.
We got the news.
In the meantime, Dan.
Yeah.
I've got the story of a politician just pandering. Absolutely just pandering.
Oh, they'll do that.
Mark Pocan, maybe, I don't know, gets up in front of an audience, what's going to be a friendly audience, and just tells them exactly what they want to hear.
This is a Republican?
This is a Democrat from Wisconsin.
Oh.
And he gets up in front of the crowd at the Freedom from Religion Foundation's annual national convention.
Right.
And he comes out as a nun.
Amazing. We got one, everybody.
We got two.
Yeah.
He came out as the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So currently that chalks up two Congress people willing
For
to
26% of the population.
willing to not claim a religion.
Right.
That's not saying they don't believe in God. That's not saying anything. It doesn't say anything about just they don't claim a specific religion.
Yeah. And just doing it for the votes, clearly.
Because, those, despite the fact that FFRF is in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
I don't think the average Wisconsin voter is really looking for the big nun.
Well, most likely, just about anywhere you are in this country, you are losing some votes.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. Let's see. Some of the things, let's see. He said, as part of his little speechy thing, says, I certainly wasn't elected to decide which form or sect of religion is right and which is wrong, but I do know that everyone has a right to their religious faith, and by our laws, everyone has a right to their lack of religious faith.
Yeah.
Which he said to great applause, apparently.
Yeah, I would imagine so at the FFRF conference.
That's what I'm saying.
They might go for that.
This was an easy audience to do this at.
Yeah.
Representative Pocan.
I mean, you want the soft landing on that one. What you don't want is to say that and then, like, CNN has footage of you being booed off the stage.
I obviously think this is great.
Yeah. We have had other nuns and even avowed atheists in our Congress, but it's a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
It will be less rare
right
from
now,
henceforward.
Jared Huffman, which I don't know where he's from. The article doesn't mention it. But he has been the only open non-believer in Congress. He identifies as a humanist and an agnostic, and he co-founded, I don't know with whom, the Congressional Free Thought Caucus. So it looks like they'll have another member there. Maybe they could do a nun caucus. That would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
And two of them can get together over coffee and discuss all sorts of things.
Yes. The two-man caucus is always the best kind of caucus. Huffman is from California.
Oh.
Not originally. Originally, obviously, from Independence, Missouri, but he's a representative out of California.
Oh, that is obvious.
Doy.
Yeah.
You guys, get your acts together if you didn't know that. There you go. Great.
How do we get more of these? That's what I want. I need more people who... And see, this is actually pretty cool, because there are others. There are plenty.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it's clear that like someone like here's the thing. I don't think Trump's an atheist because I think if you think you're a god, you don't count as an atheist.
You believe in at least one god.
Right. But I definitely think, like, you look at how mercenary and how absolutely, like, pure, genuine evil some of these guys are. You know, your Mitch McConnells or whatever. There's no way that guy believes in a god.
No, I think that's how people are able to justify a lot of evil, right? Because they feel like God is on their side, or that they're doing the work of God. They're doing it in His name.
Yeah,
right?
I think that may be the case for someone like for someone like a Mitt Romney.
Right. Yeah, I can't speak specifically to anyone.
Right. I'm perfectly willing to. I'm more than willing to go ahead and speak directly for people that I have never met and don't know anything about, other than what I see on the news and whatever. Oh my God! Well, hey, speaking of politics, have you heard of this Joe Biden character? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, he's been around a bit.
He's been around.
You know, I've every so often I hear his name.
Former Veep and current presidential Democratic frontrunner.
Yeah.
God, please don't let it be Biden.
It cannot be Biden.
Don't let it be Biden.
It cannot be Biden.
None of you vote for Biden. We
just cannot.
We don't care who you vote for, just not him. And a bunch of other people too. Anyway, Biden, I don't know if you know this, is a Catholic. He has been his whole life.
Yeah.
And unlike our current president, goes to church. Now he's out there on the road doing stumping for his campaign.
Yeah.
Went to church, some Catholic church, at St. Anthony Catholic
They
Church.
can be hard to find.
Yeah.
Catholic churches. They're not everywhere.
Well, yes, they are. Anyway, he was there. He went to church. The priest denied him Holy Communion. Probably,
the man of his convictions, I suppose.
I suppose so, yes. It was based entirely on Mr. Biden's stance on abortion, which is funny because his stance on abortion is legally, it should be legal, but you shouldn't do it.
Right.
He takes the Catholic stance on whether or not it's okay to do it.
Right.
He just doesn't think the law should take that stance.
Right.
So really, this priest is just being a dick.
Right.
This is just dick movery right here.
Right.
So yeah, the priest Father Robert Moray, said that he said, quote, "Sadly, this past Sunday I had to refuse Holy Communion to former Vice President Joe Biden."
Well, he's a better man than the Pope.
Yes.
Because the Pope actually, sort of famously, has given communion to people who support abortion rights, such as the mayor of Rome, who he personally gave communion to.
Right.
And who is staunchly for abortion rights. And so it's like, it's so...
Well, I think we all know that...
sort of out of step with your own leadership there,
I think we all know that this particular Pope doesn't really count. I think most of the Catholic priests in the world are like waiting him out.
Oh, come on.
This one doesn't count.
They all count.
He doesn't get it. He's not 100% real Pope. He's like kind of the Pope.
It's, he's...
They kind of secretly want Ratzinger to come back in.
Yeah, he wouldn't dare.
He's still there.
Give, communion to an abortionist.
No, he'd knock communion right out of somebody's hand if they were about to give it to an abortion. He would use a crossbow to shoot a priest that was trying to give an abortion lover communion.
He'd take his mitre off.
Yeah.
And whack someone with it.
Or you'd use the gun that's always hidden therein.
Oh, yeah.
There's weaponry.
Up in the mitre?
In the Pope's mitre, for sure. 100%.
Well, you could just hide it. He could have just a little hip holster underneath those robes.
Oh,
right.
Ratzinger was packing all the time. Half the reason they don't like Pope Francis is because he refuses the guns. I don't know what we're talking about.
No, Ratzinger would have just taken his Prada shoes off and whacked. Just done a little, like, glove slap across the cheek.
Right. With
how dare you, sir?
Slap. Only with a German accent.
Yeah.
Nein!
How dare you, sir?
Du musst nicht! Schmack.
Schmack? That's
German.
Onomatopoeia for...
Yes, that's German for smack.
All right.
Ich spreche gerne Deutsch.
All right. Well, all the way up in Canada.
Oh, yes.
Over in Quebec.
The Great White North, eh?
They're following up on a campaign promise.
Oh, good.
Which, I don't know, Dan.
Le Québécois.
Oui. They only want a certain kind of immigrant.
Oh, well, that's...
in their province.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So they are... they're going to begin doing a provincial values test.
Oh, my God.
For would-be immigrants to Canada who wish to settle in Quebec.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm loving this already. I don't know any of the things, but I'm loving it.
Now, I should probably start by saying I know nothing about immigration law anywhere, much less Canada's.
Sure.
So a lot of this does seem foreign, but if you got me into the weeds in American immigration law, I'm sure it would seem absolutely batshit crazy.
Right.
So the test. So there must be something about how the provincial government gets to oversee a certain class of immigrants, which is defined as economic class.
Ah, yes.
This is not to be confused with refugees or families that are being reunified.
Okay.
It's people who are part of an economic immigration of some kind.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. Maybe they have a job lined up, or they've got a bunch of money in the bank, so Canada's just letting them in.
Yeah.
That is a thing. So this test only pertains to members of the economic class of immigrants.
Okay.
But they are going to make sure that they understand and send a very clear message to these would-be immigrants that Quebec has a set of values. That's, for example, women are equal to men in Quebec. This is the Premier Francois Legault.
Okay.
I think it's important if somebody wants to come and live in Quebec that they know women are equal to men.
Huh.
They want people to know and understand Quebec's new secularism law, which bans public workers in positions of authority from wearing religious symbols.
Yes,
We've talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
He says, I think it's important before deciding and coming to Quebec, if you expect to be in a job in a position of authority, you will not have a right to wear a religious sign. I think it's important that we understand the values and the society where you want to live. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
The test will be 20 questions chosen randomly from a bank of 200. You have to.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
75% of the answers must be answered correctly.
Okay.
You get a second chance.
Oh, okay.
If you fail, after a second failure, the applicant can take a class and then try a third time.
Okay. So is this isn't that this person has to espouse these values? They just have to be aware of them?
I suppose so. I don't know at what point you have to pledge allegiance to these values.
Yeah.
But you do need to understand their point is, and there is something to it, right? This idea of like, we have this society that we've built, and we welcome anybody who wants to be a part of it to come and you know, and within reason, come here and live with us, and you know,
what would the Utah values be?
Well, it depends on.
I'm going to say
if it's the Mormon, the Mormon culture that's deciding.
I mean, they're definitely the majority in the state.
Yeah. They would get to write this.
I would say sugary sweets is one of Utah's values.
You have to...
naming your child some wackadoo spelling of a name.
A standard name.
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily standard in the whole country. It can be standard for here, like,
Right, but I'm saying that, like, they'll take Christina.
Sure.
Or something like that.
Or Kaylee.
Or is that a real name?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mostly Utah, probably.
Yeah.
But then they'll spell it all kinds of wonkadoo.
Yeah, it'll be like a Q-A-Y.
Yeah. You'll look at the name and you'll be like, wait, your name is...
L-E-I-G-H.
Yeah. L-E-I-G-H is like Ashley spelled with the L-E-I-G-H at the end.
Did you ever see my Utah spelling of my name?
No.
Oh my God. It's like P-H-R-E-I-G-H-N-C-K or something like that.
Yeah.
I had some fun at work with that.
Yeah.
Signing emails with...
Yeah.
Who is this?
Who is this? Yeah, that's definitely a Utah value.
Yeah.
Utah has no...
and drinking soda that you pump all sorts of sugary nonsense into.
I feel like that was covered in my first one, which was sugary sweets.
Well, no, because that makes me think more...
Treat, like cookies
desserts
and
whatnot.
Okay, it's all there, as long as there's no alcohol in it.
I'm so sorry, Dan, that I didn't stray far enough.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're just brainstorming here. This is all we're just spitballing.
But they would put a positive spin on whatever they were. They would say that they. That you have to be a good neighbor, right?
Yeah,
Utahns love to think of themselves as good neighbors.
They are not, by the way. They are shitty neighbors, but
they're also not friendly.
Well, the thing is, they're really friendly and good neighbors to everyone in the ward.
Yeah,
to all of their fellow Mormons.
Right.
I remember walking down the street. I was actually coming home from church one day, and I was looking at the houses that I was passing on my way home and realizing that I knew which houses were all of the Mormon houses. And the other houses felt like these deep, dark, scary mysteries to me.
Yeah. Well, they were dark.
They were dark.
They were dark
I was like, I don't know. I don't know who's in there.
Demon possessed people.
I don't know if they're okay. I don't know if it's okay for me to talk to them or
because they were like child molesters.
All of them.
Yeah.
One of them had a really cool Trans Am, but I couldn't talk to him.
No.
How could I know whose Trans Am that was with the Firebird on the front, on the hood?
Did he stand in his yard holding a beer?
No. Nobody had that much temerity. They may have stood in their backyard.
This was the 80s after all.
It was indeed. Oh, my goodness. All right. I shall move on. In the words of the immortal philosopher, haters gonna hate.
Who was that? Taylor Swift?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what other philosopher would I be referencing?
Well, clearly my favorite philosopher.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of hate, there's an organization called the D. James Kennedy Ministries. I almost said miniseries. Ministries. The D. James Kennedy Ministries, formerly called Truth in Action. And they got themselves in trouble. They got onto the Southern Poverty Law Center's list of hate groups. Now, just being an evangelical ministry does not get you on there.
It feels like it should.
It does kind of feel like it should.
I mean, I guess it gets you maybe on like a standby list.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're definitely...
If a space opens up.
You're on deck, for sure. Yeah. But you have to go above and beyond. You have to actually, like, engage in things like, if your head pastor says you should read a book that espouses the killing of gay people, for instance, that might get you on there. especially if it's combined with, one of those other things like, various and sundry wishings of ill toward your fellow man. Usually it's LGBT. When it's a group like this, it's usually LGBTQ.
Yeah, that would make sense.
People. Anyway, these guys decided that they were going to sue because
sue who?
Both the Southern Poverty Law Center and
putting them on a list. Is that something you can sue people for?
Well, here's the thing. It definitely they're claiming, and I probably believe them, that it has hurt them monetarily. One of the ways is that Amazon will not let them be an Amazon Smile recipient. Amazon Smile is one of those things where you sign up and it's just you do all your same shopping, but a small portion of the money goes to your favorite.
I'm sure
charity.
A very small portion of the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Bezos,
he keeps a lot.
Yeah,
he likes to keep the money all to himself. He doesn't like to share it with his workers. He doesn't like to share it with anybody. Yeah. So anyway, they sued. Also, I think GuideStar, which is it's a charity rating website that sort of rates your charity, and they often sort of conform to the Southern Power SPLC. The SPLCs, if you're on their hate group, that's something that they list. That's something that they take into account.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure.
So this ministry...
Who wants to support a hate group?
This ministry sued, alleging defamation, specifically libel.
Libel?
Yeah, because they conspired to publish written information in interstate commerce that subjects the ministry to disgrace, ridicule, odium, and contempt by declaring the ministry a hate group. Under Alabama law, this conduct constitutes defamation, specifically libel, per se.
I like the word odium.
I love odium. It's a great word. They're using fancy lawyer talk, but odium's a good one.
That's a good word.
Anyway, so they sued. They lost that first lawsuit. It was tossed out. And now they plan to appeal.
Sue again. Sue more.
Sue more. Not a bad strategy when you think about the fact that the political right, the religious right in this country has been doing everything in their power to pack the higher courts,
right,
with judges who will choose Christianity over the laws of the land.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We will see. That's
It's very obviously like, I don't know. It's.
Does a church? I mean, as like a public, quasi-public institution, right? Like, boy, the bar must be set high though for libel. Like, it must be incredibly high.
It is. It has to be.
Boy, that's.
But I will tell. I'll tell you this.
They clearly have enough money to sue.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do. Matter of fact, they have enough money that they created a little documentary called "Prophets of Hate: The Southern Poverty Law Center."
Oh, they hate. Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Oh my God, they're just turning the tables.
Yeah, they're flipping the script.
Holy shit.
They know what's really going on.
Yeah. Well, here's some people who flip some things and then flip the script, I guess.
Okay.
So, a group of people went to Washington, D.C. recently, Dan.
Oh, wow.
To lobby against a group that they used to belong to.
Oh.
Some would say they probably still do belong to.
I think I did see this one.
They are identifying themselves as formers.
Oh.
That means that they are former members of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. The really good ones.
These are just the best, and we're so sad to have lost them.
Oh. Ex-gays. You're talking about ex-gays.
Ex-gays.
No longer.
People who've thrown off the shackles
of Satan's orientation.
Of SSA.
Yeah.
Against, all data and research to the contrary, including, federal hate crimes data and academic research on the issue. The formers went to D.C. to question the existence of anti-LGBTQ discrimination.
To question the existence of it?
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't exist?
It doesn't know. In fact, that's really their message.
That is amazing.
Yeah. They went to share their stories and to lobby against two proposed LGBTQ rights bills. Those being H.R. 5, which is known as the Equality Act. Mm-hmm. You've probably heard of it. And then there's also H.R. 3570, which is the Therapeutic Fraud Prevention Act, which is,
to prevent more of these people.
Yes, to prevent the creation of more formers.
Right.
Neither of these laws is expected to pass anytime soon.
Sure.
However, or I should say become law anytime soon. The Equality Act would ban discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and employment, housing, public accommodations, jury service, education, and federal programs. And then we've already explained what the Therapeutic Fraud Prevention Act is.
What states I can get out of jury duty by claiming to be gay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to know so that I can move there and then not have to do. I'm just kidding. Everybody hates jury duty, but I've always kind of wanted to do it. And every time I get called up, I never I've been called to jury duty 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
and never actually served. It's I've always been waved off at the last one. Really?
Never, ever, ever. And this seems to be a thing. You either have a mark on your voter registration that's him.
Yeah, get him.
Want him.
Get him.
Yeah, you should what you should do, Dan, is you should play the lottery more.
I should.
Because
I'm so lucky.
The universe keeps picking you for things.
I'm chosen.
Yeah.
I am a chosen one.
So you should quick go get a Powerball ticket.
I think that's
drive to Wyoming.
I think this
is great.
Very
advice.
good idea.
Very, very, very good advice. So this let's see. One of the co-founders of Changed. That's the name of this group. Changed.
Oh.
And also amongst the group were members of the Church United. But one of the founders of Changed said that the group plans to share our experiences and bring awareness to the fact that we exist.
We are happily straight.
Yeah.
Don't feel any compunction toward gayness at all anymore.
Yeah. One of the members of Changed who was there, Kathy Grace Duncan, she said, I live in Portland, Oregon, and I don't see the discrimination that LGBTQ people talk about. That's because you're fucking Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like it doesn't exist in the most liberal cities in the country.
This is not where you're talking about.
I live in San Francisco, and I don't see it. I hear it's around, but I just don't see it.
They're asking for certain rights in this legislation.
Yeah.
But these are rights that they already have. Let's see. Jim Doman, founder of Church United, he says, sexual behavior should not be a protected right. Excuse me?
A, yes, it should. And B, that's not what we're talking about.
That's also not what we're talking about. Because we're talking... Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Doman also says the Equality Act treats sexual preference as an elevated class and would strip people of religious freedom. Who are these people?
Well,
they hated being gay.
Here's the thing.
Or they hate being gay so much that they And you know, I
Yeah,
can't
you
speak-
hated gay people so much you killed one of them, turned them straight. I'm talking about the self.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
that's-
and I can't speak to anybody else's experience or their own sexual attractions
Right.
and whatnot.
Right.
But like,
That is
all
a
I can do
mysterious
is
world.
speak about my own
Sure.
experience, right? This shit ain't changing,
No.
right? Like, and so the only thing that I can mildly guess at with these people would be that they, you know, are mildly bisexual.
Or they
And
just
they're able to just glom onto that part of them that is attracted to the opposite sex.
Or they just chose their church over their actual self, and they're lying to themselves. And
Well, there's that, too.
people do that all of the damn time.
Well,
And
also,
they continue, and they get so much praise from the churchy people about it.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I will say there's a picture of this group, right? And I'm not
God.
going to make fun of any of them, except to say,
Except all of them.
except all of them, except to say that I know that little head cock. Right, that is a very gay man right there. I also know what those that splayed hand, what those fingers, this from this man
Jazz
in the
hand.
back who's like waving to the camera, but his fingers are just spread out too
He's
much.
just got jazz hands. He's
Right.
got natural jazz hands.
That is a very gay man.
Yeah.
Like it's oh my god, he's such a gay, you know, middle-aged man. That one right there.
Yeah.
That guy is so gay.
Somebody needs to
And then I
invent
haven't even
an
started
actual
looking at the
gaydar.
lesbians. I'm a little less good with the lesbians, but I would say, yeah, I don't even want to go down that road.
I would say they're all gay. If they're claiming to be ex-gay, then guess what they all are? Gay.
I would say the girls pass as straight, just a little bit better.
Okay.
Her hair is awfully short, but
All right, let's move on before we get into any trouble. Speaking of gay, by the way,
I'm saying it's short for somebody who's claiming to not be lesbian.
to be straight,
Or-
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like it's a straight woman can walk around with that short of hair.
Rhonda, you're straight now. Can we grow it out? No, I like it short.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a problem.
yeah.
Right.
Anywho, speaking of gay, the gayest cereal of all time, breakfast has never been gayer. The cereal you can only drink with a mimosa or eat with a mimosa.
Wait, what? What is this cereal? I need
Kellogg's All Together has been announced.
some. What is this?
It's basically the most horrifying thing you've ever imagined in terms of breakfast cereal.
What
It's
is it?
all of them in a single box.
No.
They've just mixed it all up. You got your Frosted Flakes, you got your mini wheats, you got your Snap Crackle Pop, you got your Fruit Loops,
No.
you got everything.
All of these get mushy in milk at different rates.
Correct.
This is a problem.
We'll get to Frank's unified field theory of mushiness, of cereal mushiness later. I'll just start by saying that it's a promotion. They've got a sort of the word together in all together is a rainbow.
Oh.
And they're making a $50,000 donation to support anti-bullying and advocacy causes on behalf of Glad Spirit Day.
A company that went from anti-masturbation
Yeah, from like the
and then
most
100 years later,
they're like,
now
they're all about supporting the gays. or
oh, isn't
whatever.
that just so nice?
Well, they're saying we're all together. I
Yeah.
think we're all in this world together.
We're all in it together. We're different. But let me tell you, the message breaks down as soon as you add milk.
They said their press release said we all belong together. So for the first time in history, our famous mascots and cereals are offered exclusively together in the same box.
They're really they're trying. They're trying to make the point.
Yeah.
It breaks down really fast as soon as you open that box. It is wrong.
Yeah.
It is wrong. I am against this.
I think there might be Raisin Bran in there.
No.
I'm not sure what all's in there.
No. You do not have raisins in the same box as anything but bran. And you know that because what other cereal has fucking raisins in it?
Granola, but that's kind of branny.
It's branny. Yeah.
It's not bran. Anyway.
It's not bran, but it's high in fiber.
It's fibrous.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Listen, you'll be shocked to learn.
And granola's not really cereal.
I love granola.
It's not really cereal, though.
It's becoming winter. I'm going to have to stock up.
It's not cereal.
It was one of the first cereals, I'll have you know.
I know that it is cereal.
It was one of the first breakfast cereals invented by Mr. Kellogg, although he stole it. That's a whole thing. We don't need to get into it.
It's okay with yogurt.
I like it.
You put milk in there?
Yeah. Of course I do. Anyway, listen.
Wow.
Listen.
Do you?
Can we get through this? I got to get to the story here.
We're still not into the story?
Yeah. Because I haven't talked about the Christian response to this.
Oh, no.
Which you can guess is less than enthusiastic.
Is it worse than my response to it?
Yeah, it's a little bit worse. Not 100% worse. It's similar.
I was fixated on my response to it.
I know you were.
It's a hot button issue, Dan.
Yeah.
Mixing cereals together. I mean, I get where they're coming from.
Okay.
It's a problem.
Okay. Well, why don't I tell you where they're coming from?
Yeah, and then I'll see if I agree with them.
And we'll see if you agree. You're clearly on board with them now.
Yeah.
And we'll see if you jump off board at any moment.
Well, strange bedfellows. That's all I'm going to say.
They'll be glad to know that they're in bed with you. Hemant Mehta, or the Friendly Atheist, had some interesting responses. 1 million moms, which Hemant points out their current Twitter count is 3,759. Never quite made it to 1 million.
No.
They're close.
No.
They're real close. They have launched a protest. They are...
Some of the million moms.
They released this statement.
Okay.
Kellogg's has supported the homosexual community for a long time, and now it's obvious they are going after our children.
Uh-oh.
Kellogg's goal is to normalize the LGBTQ lifestyle. I love that they're using the right, they're using...
They got the Q in there.
They're using the letters.
Not everybody's... I only, put the Q in 2 weeks ago.
Kellogg's goal is to normalize the LGBTQ lifestyle by using cereal mascots to brainwash children. The company is also donating $50,000 to GLAAD to support its anti-bullying.
Oh.
And their advocacy
So the
network.
million moms are pro-bullying?
They're pro-bullying.
That's what I took from
that.
that.
It's pretty clear. If you look at their history, they're pretty pro-bully. Ken Ham got into the mix.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Tweeted
Never
out about it.
An opportunity.
Ken Ham, you gotta love what side of it of an issue it puts these people on when they're going against all together. Ken Ham says, "We are not all together." As the LGBTQ lifestyle / worldview is anti-God, anti-biblical, and anti-science, and consists only of a small minority in the culture. I love when Ken Ham talks science. It's literally my favorite thing in the world.
Makes me so mad.
I have seen his scientific
it's a brilliant scientific mind.
Studies up close.
Brilliant.
He has all the best scientific minds working for him. It's amazing. It actually kind of really is amazing. How hard he has to work to try and make the science fit with his crazy book.
Right.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so they're upset about the message that this whole thing sends.
Yeah, not the cereal. You're upset about the cereal.
Oh,
we hear you.
No. There has to be people out there who agree with me.
Let me tell you something,
and who'd be willing to take a stand against this on the grounds that these cereals should not be mixed.
How do you get the mush? How do you eat the mushy? The ones that go mush first, you got to eat those quick, But you can't because you're busy working around these.
You got to eat the whole thing quick. You have seriously like 2 minutes to get that whole bowl down.
But basically, in the blender and drink it. That's the only way.
It may not work really well.
All I have to say is that I want to know what these people thought Snap, Crackle, and Pop were all about if they weren't gay. Come on. We've known this for decades.
Snap.
Right? They've been...
Crackle.
Crackle's the drag queen one. Uh-huh. Snap is just sassy. And Pop is the sort of older gay.
Oh, Pop.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like Snap, Crackle, and Poppers or something.
Oh, Poppers. They were originally gonna call him Daddy, but it didn't really.
Snap, Crackle, and Daddy.
They went with Pop.
Well, yeah, there is that whole daddy thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Snack, Crackle, and Hey, Pop.
Hey, Pop.
Gross.
Mm.
The way it sounds when you say Pop.
You can make my Krispies rice. Anyway, yeah, so if you guys would like to say anything about Frank's universal field theory on cereal, please don't. But if you want to talk about anything else on the show, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. While it is a closed group, we'll let you in.
Yep. Answer the question. There's a question that comes up. Answer it. Nobody answered it.
Yeah, and there's more show coming on.
Yeah, we'll do more show later.
Yeah, it's coming.
In a second.
Soon enough. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Let's see. This isn't the coach. This is the fireman. Right? What profession were these people before they were online religious assholes?
And I love that they hold to their previous profession even though they no longer do it.
It makes them relatable.
Right?
As a prophet, sometimes you want to relate to the people.
Well, what you don't want is for them to be imagining you in flowing robes with a staff standing on a mountainside.
Right.
So yeah, if you're a coach or if you're a former fireman...
What was Christopher McDonald?
I think he's just a Looney Tune. I don't think he has a cool title. But he and... he
was a filing clerk.
But yes, he and Mark Taylor, the firefighter prophet, are commonly seen gabbing along with each other.
Yeah. They're buds. They're online... Christian streaming buds.
Yes, indeed. And let me tell you something. They keeps it relevant. And by that I mean...
They're going to go on about...
They have a lot to say about Hillary in this thing. And I swear, I looked up... I was like, I had to look at it. Like, is this from... 2 years ago?
Right. No.
It's from now.
They can't get over Hillary.
They can't.
They can't get over Hillary. Here's why they can't get over Hillary. Because Donald Trump can't get over Hillary.
Well, and they've invested...
How often does he bring her up?
They've invested so much time and energy into vilifying this woman.
And lock her up is such a good chant.
Oh, my God.
It's a good chant.
I will say this.
I just chant it just to chant it.
Just every now and then out the window of your moving car.
Lock her up.
Yeah. They were chanting it, lock him up at the baseball game. That was pretty good.
Whoever started that was brilliant. All right.
But I will say this. Mark Taylor has made several, you go back 2 years, the dude was prophesying about Hillary. Now, he is a full-on conspiracy theorist. Mm-hmm. He believes all the stuff. She is trafficking in the children in the sex dungeons of pizzerias around the country.
Right.
So... He has made prophecies. He will reference a couple, at least one of them, in this talk.
So good, so wise.
Today, one of her advisors slipped up and said that Hillary told him or her that she felt like that God had put her on this earth to be president. Excuse me for laughing,
That's
but let me laugh a little bit. That Hillary Clinton is thinking that God, that's why he created her to be president of the United States of America, Mark. This woman's not going to make it past Christmas without being in handcuffs. I don't think God created her to be president.
No, it's going to be a little hard to do from Gitmo, honestly. No, she was not. Look, I have no doubts that her God,
that's very true,
had plans for her to be president. I have no doubt with.
It's a great point.
I have no doubt of that whatsoever. But my God has no plans for her being president. And we've seen this play out. So, I mean, again, it's going to be hard to do running from Gitmo. When they actually serve an indictment on her, I don't know. When she's walled off in handcuffs, I don't know. I just know it's coming. And when she's locked up, that'll be a sign that spirit Jezebel's been locked up and the key thrown away. It doesn't mean it won't be operating on the earth. It just won't be in control of America. It won't be in control of our a lot of the things that we have right now, the political and all these things. So, no, that was in the plans for the God that she serves.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. There is a God of this earth called the devil. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I've had several people, Mark, and they look. I don't say this lightly. This is very serious. I mean, when you get down to it, it's serious that somebody would sell their soul. And the Bible talks about a coming mark of the beast, where people, if they take the mark, they eternally damn themselves forever. I mean, there's no repentance for that. I believe, and this is just an opinion, the way Hillary Clinton has conducted herself over the last 10 years, it seems to me that there has been something take place. It is like she has made a covenant with the evil one. I'm telling you, it's like somebody that has just sold all out, has no remorse, has no care for any more about her eternal destination.
Wait, it's so dumb.
It's like she doesn't even care about her eternal destination.
Yeah. Oh. I love how crazy the notion is that she was meant by God, that she felt called to the presidency by God. Because let me tell you something. I Googled this because I knew that someone would have a list of all of the Republican former presidential candidates who believed that they were called by God. Now, of course, Trump believed that he was called by himself, and he is God, therefore, ipso facto. Mm. But Scott Walker, Ben Carson, Rick Perry, Rick Santorum, Mike Huckabee, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Ted Cruz.
And this is just the most recent round.
Yeah. All of them said that they prayed to God, and God gave them the big thumbs up, the big go ahead, the big do it.
God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, that Lord, he's a trickster.
Right. Like he wanted a big, wide field of candidates to run against Trump.
They're like, God, should I run? And he's like, yeah, go ahead, man. Let's see what happens if you do that. That'd be great. I'm being serious, God. Oh, I know. You should try it. Let's see what happens. Oh, boy. Well, we had some...
No. We have to at least address my favorite moment of this entire thing.
Sure.
Where Chris, what's his name? McDonald.
Yeah.
Chris McDonald he's got himself laughing so hard at the beginning of the clip.
He can't handle it.
And the fireman prophet starts to talk, and he goes, no, let me laugh, and then he keeps laughing.
Oh my God!
let me laugh.
These guys. Here's the thing that I respect the most about them is that they're smart. They use their wit and their intelligence, and that's what I like.
Let me laugh, Dan. That's going to be my new thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, let me laugh.
Let me laugh. No, I won't allow it. Donald wrote into us. We had some writing and some calling in.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
Donald says, I'm 47. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a fanatically religious home. It wasn't cultish fanaticism. I mean, come on, it kind of was, probably. Isn't all fanaticism cultish in the end?
there are nuances.
There's a fine line there.
There are nuances.
Okay. Well, he says it wasn't cultish fanaticism. We were all mostly normal, very loving, very open. My path to atheism really was from birth because I could never wrap my head around these supernatural beliefs, and it really created a rift between my mother and I. We had a goal to read the Bible cover to cover every calendar year.
Oh.
I completed this goal 4 fucking times. As you can imagine, this just reinforced my non-belief. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Anyone who's honestly read it, anyone who's read it and paid attention as they were reading, should be horrified.
Yeah.
That is a terrible book. Anyway, Donald says, when I was a teenager, I asked my mother about all the crazy shit I was reading. I asked her if she believed in demons and spirits among us, and if she believed giants existed. I asked how anything about the Ark story could be real. Her response was the standard, if it's in the Bible, it's true. But when I asked her if magic still existed in this world, as the multiple stories in the Bible describe, she got upset and said, and was very upset with me. So upset, in fact, that it's the only time we've ever heard her tell me never to mention it to her again.
Oh.
That was the day I went from a curious boy trying to make sense of everything to a rock-solid atheist.
Wow.
I was already aware of Christian hypocrisy, but to hear it come out of my sweet mother absolutely floored me. Yeah. Yeah, I wish more people would notice the crazy hypocrisy and the just the cognitive dissonance that happens.
Yeah.
When you ask a question. There are good questions that they're happy to answer, and then there are the bad ones.
Yeah.
That they don't have an answer for.
Yeah, I know. And being told, I remember asking questions and just being told that those are things that either that's not important for us to know.
Right.
Right. That knowing wouldn't change our eternal progression one way or the other. Such as I wanted to know if the Holy Ghost ever got a body, since the body was essential for salvation.
Right.
Right. And people were, and I mean, I was like 7 or 8. Right?
Yeah.
Like I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when does the Holy Ghost get a body? And my parents were just like, and then like they actually asked around. They're converts.
Yeah.
My dad's in the church at this point less than 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Like way less than 10 years.
Okay.
And so then they're just like, we don't know. We want to answer this.
Sure.
This question that our child is asking.
That is a great question, kiddo.
Right?
Let's figure it out.
And the bishop basically told them what they ended up telling me, which was, it's not important. It'll get figured out. That's what the millennium is for. And that's probably one of the moments when my mom really started to glom on to, that's what the millennium is for.
Yep.
As like her pat answer to just like anything that was kind of weird.
Anything that
Mormonism.
that didn't make sense to their brain.
Yeah.
Well, we got 1,000 years to sort that out.
Right.
God hasn't figured it out yet.
More than 1,000 years to sort out Mormonism, let me tell you.
Oh my God. Do we have a voicemail?
We do. We actually have 2 voicemails. And this first one is from a caller.
They don't name themselves, do they?
No, they don't.
Okay.
From a caller who has something to say about, it's in reference to something that came up on the show. They do a pretty good job of bringing it up on their own. It's about how groups kind of deal with individuals that might transgress against the values of a group.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was interesting. So
mostly kill them, right?
Yeah, let's have a listen.
Hey Frank and Dan, I love the show. Was catching up on some previous episodes and was thinking about what you were talking about with that doctor who wouldn't use trans people's pronouns and why people can't just respect other people while still feeling like their beliefs are respected. And I feel like sometimes in the U.S. it might be related to a lot of the early Puritans and the fact that they saw morality as a group act. And if you in any way allowed someone else to possibly commit a sin or something you saw as a sin, God would hold you as equally responsible and the community would be punished as a whole, usually by a plague or something. While a lot of modern sects don't explicitly state this or follow this anymore, I feel like a lot of times you still kind of see it in that groupthink that if I allow this person to keep doing what I see as a sin or seem in any way to condone it, then I am somehow as equally responsible in God's eyes, which just seems to go against God being just, but whatever. Anyway, that was just a thought there. I'm not sure how to overcome it with people or how to break that kind of mindset for people so that they can allow to live and let live, but I think sometimes that may be the problem. Anyway, have a great one. Bye.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, whoever you are, mysterious stranger, for the, I mean, obviously, groupthink is amazing and powerful, and then, there's this whole idea of if anybody goes outside of what I think is okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
somehow I'm granting assent to it, to that behavior.
Right.
If I'm okay with it being legal or anything. Do we have another voicemail?
Oh, we do indeed. This is in reference to, my notes on it are rather vague.
Well, we can all just find out together.
We could just find out together. Oh no, this is just this is a story. This caller is just literally kind of just sharing a story, and has a kind of a common, typical response, I think, as an atheist to kind of a believer's perspective on something that happened in his life.
Right.
Hey, Frick and Dan, this is Keith. Been listening to you guys for about a year and a half now. Anyway, one of a related quick story. I was out riding bikes with my son. He's 5 years old one day, and we were getting ready to ride across a busy intersection that was stopped one way but was going on the cross street. He misunderstood me and rolled directly out into traffic, and it was just terrifying. It was one of those things, I tell people that's the most terrified I've ever been in my life. And when I related this story, when I got back from the story, or from the ride, I was relating this to a friend of mine, and she said, makes you want to believe in God, doesn't it? Thank God, thank God that he was there to stop the cars and not let your son get hit. And I said, actually, no, I want to thank the German engineers that designed that car and designed it so well that everything worked perfectly and stopped in time to allow that driver not to hit my son. So, just keeping things in the practical world. Wanted to relate that story. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Take care.
Yeah, this comes up a lot, right, in our lives.
It's it's like such an annoying thing because believers just assume, boy, you experienced something scary.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to turn to the Lord now.
Right.
And it's just like, no.
Right.
No, the reason that we haven't been turning to the Lord is not because our lives have been easy.
Right.
That's not what this is. But yeah, man. No atheists in foxholes.
Oh, I know.
Unless you count all of them. All of the ones that are.
Yeah, I know. Whoa. Was that your phone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who let you make noise?
I know. No, I don't know how to tell this story. But so I'm just gonna. It's I remember when I was first sort of deconverting.
Yeah.
Right. And I was getting my mind out of God belief and always turning to God. Because I was a prayer.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
Like if there was a moment, right?
Yeah.
I would say little prayers.
Sure.
Right. And one of the moments, because I swear to God, I must have like irritable bowel syndrome or something, that would, you just have some really bad gastrinal intent or distress. Right?
Yeah, sure.
And I would always just be like, please, Heavenly Father, please
help me poop. Make my poop better.
Essentially, yeah. And
you designed this goddamn plumbing.
Just
make it work,
right? So
it's not ridiculous. It's his fault.
It's his fault.
Fucking make it work.
Please let this pass real quick. Right. And I always would. And I remember those first few times when my stomach would be really upset or whatever, and I was just like, ooh,
Oh.
I can't pray about this.
Right.
Right. And you know what? It went exactly the same way as it always
Same.
had.
Yep.
Didn't change a thing.
Followed the same course.
That was like a real moment for me.
Yeah.
When I realized that God had no control over my bowels.
Had not helped with bathroom time at all. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like we're all better off because of it.
Sometimes you just have to talk about crap,
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. It's a literal thing. Like these are the moments when it's just like, oh yeah. Because I remember when I was, early on in my letting go of God process, and yeah, something scary would come up.
Yeah. And
the impulse is like, fuck. I need to pray about this.
Yeah.
And then you just go, well, it didn't do anything before.
Right.
Or at least you might have felt better. And that's what sucks, is that we don't have the placebo effect that praying offered.
No, I still have wet towels that I can put on my forehead.
Sure.
Sure.
But like if you're like, I remember one time I was driving through just the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. I think I've told this story before. And like there were lightning bolts, the scale of which I had never encountered before. This was just flat land and sequoia tree trunk sized lightning bolts hitting the ground, sort of often. It was scary. I had never seen lightning like this before. Mm-hmm. And I like had the impulse to pray, and I was like, I could pray. I don't believe in it, so I guess I won't. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted some external comfort.
Yeah.
And it was not forthcoming, so I had to summon it from within.
Yeah. And that's what you realize.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of that comes from within. All of that's, any peace that you're going to have is you creating it for yourself.
The comfort that you used to take from praying was you.
It was you all along.
You had the power the whole time, Dorothy. It was you all along. Do we have some folks to thank?
Oh, we do indeed. We actually have 2 new patrons on Patreon. These people went to thankgodimatheist.com and clicked on the support tab. And let's see, we have the first person we need to thank is John. He's a new faithful listener. And we have Michelle, who's a new venerable listener. So thank you to the both of you.
Yeah.
You're by signing up, you're helping us keep the show going. You're helping us actually transition away from being having some ads running on the show to being a wholly listener-supported show. We feel like that's just a better option all around. That way we're beholden to you guys.
Yeah.
And not necessarily to
just random
sponsors that we have literally no control over.
Yeah, in terms of ad placement, the ad rolls that run, we don't have any way of controlling that. So
all we get to do is leave a marker in the show, and then it plays at that spot in the show.
We like you more than we like them. We'd love for you guys to be our only sponsors. And we're getting there. We
are so close. We're actually, as we speak right now, and this could change by the time the show posts.
Yeah.
We would love it if that happens. But as of right now, we are 3 listeners,
3 new patrons
away from our next goal, which would mean 3 out of 4 shows will be ad-free. So it's incredibly close. Like, if you've been thinking about this is the time when signing up as a supporter really would mean a lot.
Yeah. So do it.
So thanks so much, guys, for
Thank you so
all
much.
of your support. We have one person that we always have to thank every single show.
Yeah.
She's our Lord and Savior, our top donor, Hannah!
Hooray for Hannah. We love you so much. We love all of you. Thanks for donating, and we'll have more in just a second.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
So this whole last month, Dan.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit longer than that. You were in a show.
I was in a show.
Yeah.
And that has a meaning. That means a lot of things. It means that our schedule gets all messed up and we can't record and whatever. It also means my look is not my own. Okay. My face does not belong to me anymore.
So what did that mean this go around?
No beard.
Yeah.
Just a very sexy, fetching mustache.
Yeah. And in order to achieve that no beard look, Dan, what were you doing?
Let me tell you something. And this is true, people. I'm not bullshitting you. I was using a razor from Harry's the whole time.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Listen, if you're a fella and you got a bunch of hair grown out of your face, as
happens,
as we do,
happens to most of us.
Here's what you want to do. You want to go to harrys.com. You want to /TGIA. That stands for Thank God I'm Atheist. harrys.com/TGIA. And then you get free stuff because you know us.
Yeah.
You just say, hey, I'm friends with Frank and Dan. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And they'll give you free stuff.
Yeah.
And here's what they're going to give you. You ready for this? You're going to get you're going to get your weighted ergonomic handle. And it's a nice handle. It actually is a great handle. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, which I've been using on my sideburns because I got to keep it all trim and nice.
Keeps it trim.
Rich lathering shave gel, our personal favorite.
Fantastic stuff.
With aloe to keep your skin hydrated.
It smells like shaving cream should smell, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really nice. And then a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. All of that you get for free. You just pay the shipping. And then you sign up if you want to. If you like it, guess what you don't have to do? Oh, shoot, I need to remember to replace this blade. And it's like 3 months later and you're still using the same.
You're scraping your face
You're literally
with like an old rusty blade.
Yeah, you're basically using a shovel now to try and get hair off of your face. No, it just comes to you right at the right moment, just when you needed it.
Yeah.
It shows up.
Fantastic.
How do you do better than that?
They have it all figured out.
And it's just $2 a blade.
Apparently they have like a calendar over at Harry's.
Yeah. It's almost like they know what month is coming up next, what date is happening
It's amazing.
next.
Let
me tell you, I went and shopped I went and looked at how much my old Mach 3 blades are.
Yeah.
It was like it was like $7 or $8 a cartridge. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was looking at them. It's just too much. You got to go with Harry's. It's an obvious no-brainer. Right. You try it out for free. We thank you for it. You will thank us for it.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
When you were a young lad.
Yeah.
And still in the Mormon church.
I was both of those things at one time.
You had things taught to you.
Oh, my
Dan.
God. They taught a lot of stuff to us.
They teach you a lot of things.
They teach you some rules.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of good rules.
Oh, lots of rules. But more sort of ways to see the world. That's where I took it.
A world
There was
view.
this assignment, Dan.
Yeah.
That you basically gave me. Right.
Sure.
You said, this was the text.
She's pulling out his phone.
What if we each talked about a few specific theological concepts that really messed with our minds when we were religious? I think it was a great idea.
Yeah. Just let me tell you something. We and most of our listeners, not all of them, some of you people never had to deal with a religion in your lives.
Yeah.
You probably had some cultural indoctrination, but we all had a lot of stuff taught to us, and some of that stuff was crazy.
Yeah.
And was super harmful.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
okay.
The inspiration for this was the How to Heretic. I was recording that, and Doug got really, really in depth about how badly he reacted to the prodigal son parable.
Really?
Yeah. Because basically it was like, it's a story about one son going away and being a shithead and just living like a crazy person, going to the fire festival and everything.
Yeah.
And then spending all of his money, his inheritance, which he asked his dad for, and then, almost starving, working as a a farm worker and then coming back to his dad hat in hand and being like, I'm sorry, will you take me back? And the other son was like, well, but I've been being good this whole time. Why are you taking him back? And the dad was just like, yeah, whatever. I love him.
He was my favorite to start with.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I never really loved you. You're kind of a shit.
You're just okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Doug took it very personally.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, here's one that screwed with me.
Okay.
Let's see if you can see where it's going to go.
Okay.
In a second. Okay?
Interesting.
So, Mormons, like a lot of people, right? A lot of different faiths kind of have something similar here, where when your loved ones pass, in Mormonism, they go to the spirit world.
Yes.
Right? But then you start to learn things about the spirit world, and it turns out that it's just right here on Earth. They're just all around us. Right?
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
That's not what I was taught.
Really?
But okay. Let's go with it.
So they're all around you. That's what I was taught. Maybe
they're here.
Maybe my teachers were crazy.
Okay.
And so all the spirits, they're all around you. All your loved ones. Were right.
Grandma's watching you masturbate.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You got there quicker than I did. She passed away when I was 10. And I always felt like there was this comfort. Grandma's around. Grandma's always there.
Yeah.
Grandma's always sort of, pushing me along. And then all of a sudden, a few years later,
you started to sprout.
Yeah.
You started to grow up.
About a mindfuck.
Yeah.
Because Grandma is over there, I don't know, crying.
So disappointed.
Disappointed.
Traumatized by her grandson that she loved so much being so evil.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that one hit me. That one definitely hit me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was told that the spirits were all just milling about Earth, but yeah, they definitely, they could visit. Like, I definitely was told that they could be here. She's watching over us right now. All of that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, when I turned of age to be suddenly sexually aware and was like, and had just a literal metric ton of testosterone coursing through my veins, I started to do what young men do, and the guilt.
Yeah.
And that was, that more than Grandma, the Grandma thing was real for me because she died about that time for me.
Yeah.
But then and this is one of mine, just the teaching that masturbation was wrong was enough for me to think I was the worst human in the world.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah,
I put myself through so many ringers. I just couldn't believe how horrible a human I was.
Yeah.
Because of this thing that is the most normal, fine, totally harmless thing. I'm looking at JCPenney catalogs at this point, just a bra section or whatever, because I was just, the kids these days, they have the hardcore pornography video on their phone or whatever. We didn't have that.
No, they're just looking. They're they're on like the Gap.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely doing what we were doing. Oh, you kids, you don't know how easy you have it.
Oh, my.
And also how horrifying you have it.
Yeah.
There's some dark parts of the web there.
Well, and so the whole masturbation thing. Like, I remember in a sort of an early, bishop's interview, right, which all the kids have to go
It's a Mormon
through.
version of confession, but worse.
Well, but it's not. It's so you turn 12, you turn 14, you turn 16. If you're a young man, you're getting levels of the priesthood conferred upon you. Right?
Yeah, you get magic
and so
powers.
You have to have
a
a worthiness interview.
Yeah,
right, for this, and he asks you all sorts of questions. Well, I don't think there's like a prescribed script. Maybe, I don't know if there is or isn't, but like I think my bishop was winging it, and so he asked me if I self-abused. And he's like, "Do you self-abuse?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?"
Did you think you were
I
you were
was
imagining
like,
a whip?
Like I punch myself? I beat myself? I'm like,
I fell down the stairs one time.
I'm like, I think I made him explain it. Right.
Nice.
And then to my horror, he meant masturbation.
Right.
And I was like, oh no. No.
You lied.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I mean, that was the other thing, is that I feel like these kind of experiences, I mean, they teach you shame.
Yes.
Amazingly well. But they teach a certain group to become really good liars.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
They put you through this ringer where, especially like the little gay kids, where, I mean, I knew there was so much wrong with me. I could never answer affirmative to any of it because I didn't know what exposed me.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know if like only gay kids did what I was doing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
if you had said yes,
all
it might have been
exposure. Like, yeah, what other questions might he have asked? You know,
that could get you to that.
Yeah. And so I knew that the walls had to be high and far out.
Yes.
Right. And so, I wouldn't say that I'm a fantastic liar as an adult, but I could probably pull off a pretty good lie if
you were
I was cornered.
Well, yeah, you had to keep a very dark, evil secret.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. Isn't that horrifying?
Yeah. I, on the other hand, was the weepy, confessy kind.
You were?
Oh, my God.
Oh.
I didn't wait for the bishop to come to me. I went to the bishop for help.
No, you didn't.
What am I going to do?
No wonder you view it as confession, because we've had this like weird, these conversations about this kind of stuff where clearly don't see it as a similar thing.
Right.
You went and confessed.
I totally did. And you're supposed to. With your bishop, you're supposed to do that.
Sorta. It's none of his business.
It's none of his business. And they're getting in, they've gotten in enough hot water that they are backing away from interviewing children now.
Yeah.
Which is good, because these are not theologically trained individuals.
Yeah.
This is the plumber that lives down the street. It's just his turn. He seemed like a good enough guy. It's just some guy. It's the electrician. It's a lawyer who is willing to take it on. Whatever it happens
Insurance
to be.
salesman.
Probably
maybe he's a high school teacher.
Yeah. Could be any number of things, but
maybe he fixes cars.
You know what he's not? A psychologist. That's what he's not.
He's not. Almost. Like, if there's a psychologist in the ward, he's like pretty much guaranteed to not be called to this position.
Yeah, kind of. They don't want real science creeping in. No. Here's the other thing. The sex thing isn't just for boys, but it's different between the boys and the girls, because the girls got the whole don't want to be a chewed piece of gum lecture.
Right.
The boys, it was all about like, don't self-abuse, don't masturbate, for God's sake. And then, probably don't, and try do your best not to do anything sexual with a girl. But if you do, you can repent and whatever. With the girl, it's like, if you do this with a boy, you're ruined. You're broken for life.
Yeah.
You are a chewed piece of gum, and nobody wants a chewed piece of gum. Everybody wants a fresh piece of gum.
Right.
You are an apple that's already had one bite taken out of it.
Oh, my God.
Nobody eats partially eaten fruit.
Yeah, no.
Any number of horrific metaphors these girls were subjected to. And the problem is that it stays with you. Yeah. These things, like, even after you shed the belief, even after you're like, oh, I get it, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
The shame takes for fucking ever to pull out all of these little tendrils that have worked their way into your squiggly little brain. And you have to find them, and they crop up at the weirdest moments. Like, you didn't even know they were there. You thought you'd gotten rid of them, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I feel gross about that. Why do I feel gross? And it's just, oh, fuck, that's the goddamn Mormonism again. Or it's like Catholicism or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. The sex thing was the main way that I was fucked up, I think, by Mormonism. But it wasn't the only way that I was fucked up by Mormonism.
Oh, really?
Mormonism for men especially, and we're coming from a male point of view because we're both one of those. Mm-hmm. So there's this weird thing in Mormonism where men tend, and men in our society, in American society, tend not to be very emotionally intelligent humans. They're not well emotionally trained.
Right.
But in Mormonism, it's like, be strong and awesome and never show any emotion except you're happy or you're stoic until you get to church, and then turn on the waterworks.
Yeah.
And then it's fast and testimony meeting. It's time for you to get up. It's open mic day. Get up and bear your testimony about how much you know the church is true. And then suddenly all of these families, this wasn't the case with my dad, but I saw it with so many of the other dads. Mm-hmm. Suddenly this dad who had never shown an emotion in his household is crying in front of his kids.
In front of everyone.
In front of everybody. These kids have never seen him cry because, how much he loves them.
Right.
But as soon as he loves Jesus, it's a weepy religion.
Yeah, they do.
That's a mind
They
fuck.
like public crying. It's really weird.
It's a really weird thing.
Like singular public crying. Like you're standing in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Crying.
It's so weird. The women do it constantly. The women are just, the waterworks just come out at anything.
Yeah, well, Mormon moms are criers.
Mormon moms, it's like, do you remember last Christmas? Oh, I remember. It's so beautiful.
I assume that's moms everywhere.
No.
No?
No. Lots of moms don't do that shit. That is a Mormon mom thing.
Are you serious?
That is a cultural crazy among Mormons.
What?
Other moms do it, I'm sure, but not to the degree that Mormon moms do it. Mormon moms are special in that regard.
The other thing that sort of came to mind that's an exceptionally well done mindfuck in Mormonism is the art of the patriarchal blessing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The one time when Mormons get to believe in astrology.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
You
cast a spell.
You go to your stake psychic.
Yeah.
Also known as the patriarch.
Yeah.
And it's an old man.
It's always an old man.
Old man, and it's a funny calling in the church because it'll be the same patriarch for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't go through patriarchs typically. It's usually just this one guy, and you don't really get released from it until you're ready.
Which is crazy because they have to do it for an entire stake, which is not just a parish, but an entire diocese worth of people.
There's what would that be? a couple thousand people, a few thousand people, right?
Yeah,
who potentially are bringing their 18-year-olds around. Yeah. That's typically about when you get it,
unless you're a convert, and then you get it whenever.
You get it later on. But yeah, you go to him. And this has been worked up your entire life.
Oh yeah, they've been telling you how
big deal,
how important this is going to be. You're going to learn things.
This is a roadmap for your life. This is scripture for you.
This is the Lord.
It is
talking
revelation
to you
through this old man.
Yeah,
and so there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens.
And if you go into it righteous,
yeah,
you'll get the best kind.
Well, you get a more complete roadmap.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and mine was mine's posted online to everybody. If you want to read it,
that's
you
true.
Can. But it's on the thankgodimatheist.com. But yeah, it's there's some crazy stuff in there about there being a young woman is now being prepared for you, which is wow, that's a sentence.
Yeah. She's being prepared. How? Are they sauteing her? What's going on?
Or women are out there to be prepared to be wives.
Yeah, to be consumed.
Yeah.
as one would consume a consumer product or good.
Exactly. And also as a young gay man who was fairly aware of that fact. And I mean very. It was this weird thing because like there's this sense of like these promises that if you live righteously, right?
Yeah.
That the homosexuality will be taken from you. That had never been directly told to me. I picked that up.
Oh, really?
Listening to various talks and various lessons, and it's out there. It was there. It's in the theology.
Totally.
The common theology is if you just do what you're supposed to do,
don't worry. The Lord will take this burden away from you.
This burden will be lifted. Just be a righteous servant.
Yeah.
Do what you're supposed to do. And so I figured, well, if I go on this mission, this could be lifted from me.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's this young woman who's been prepared for me.
Hooray. Right? When I get home from the mission,
right,
there's little Susie.
Yeah. And I seriously was like, well, what if I like totally screw up? What will happen to her?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you failed her. Now she's just wandering around without a husband. One of the sad old maids of 28 in the Mormon church.
No, apparently she married somebody who looks a lot like me, which is kind of funny.
What? Who said that?
No, because I always had a theory of who it was.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you knew the girl.
I knew the girl. I figured it was her.
I know who's being prepared for me.
Yeah, it's her.
And then this other guy was like, okay, I'll take her.
I guess so. No, but I mean, amongst other things, there were like, you'll sit in council with the brethren and like all these like really like great like sounding things, right?
Which literally are very much like every cold read astrology session in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They are words, they're phrases that are meant to sound personal, but be as general as possible.
Yeah, because you could end up interpreting that however your life ends up going.
Right, exactly. So basically you start out with the best possible interpretation. Right. Oh, this means I'm going to be president of the church. I'm going to be a prophet one day. And by the time by the time you're like 32 and you're still a mid-level manager in some whatever job you're doing,
you'll settle for a really sort of a decent meeting at stake conference.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I sat in council with the brethren.
Oh yeah,
those not the brethren, just those brethren.
Yeah, those brethren called me in. I was elders quorum president for a whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the brethren.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but what it does is as you're sort of like starting to leave, the church, you start like, well, what about all those promises?
What about
all those precious promises?
Yeah.
All those great things that were supposed to happen. And it's like, yeah, no. No.
And the church is great about it. If you've had your name removed from the church, right? Yeah. The best thing about the Mormon church is they send you out a letter that's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because this will cancel all of your blessings, anything that's been conferred upon you, all of the rights and privileges that come from your priesthood, all those powers, the magic powers that we've given you, will all be canceled.
Yeah,
and you'll just be." It's
like Superman.
Yeah, they make it sound like Superman 2.
Yeah.
General Zod's going to put you in the thing, and you're going to have all your powers taken away, and then you're just going to be Clark Kent for the rest of your life. Is that what you want?
Yeah, no, I know.
Do you want to be Clark fucking Kent?
Nobody wants to be Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, there you go. I'll bet you our readers have... Our readers. You know how everybody reads this podcast? Our listeners, I'll bet they have some stories to tell, things that were difficult for them to extract from their religious upbringing.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear from you. Write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424 666-8442.
Yeah, hey, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click on the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in.
Yes, sir. Speaking of Facebook, hey, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Danny and Amy for all of their work as moderators on the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to Gordon Johnston and to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thank to all of you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.